Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have X-Men Evolution. This is the 2000 era, 2000 X-Men series. We had one plenty in the 90s, and have we had any since? I've not kept up with the X-Men cartoons. In fact, I'm going to have to admit, despite being like a humongous X-Men fan since the 80s, I haven't seen this show. I've seen pieces of it. I even got some artwork from the guy who designed a lot of the characters from the show. He makes appearances. I can't remember his name offhand, but he makes appearances on at conventions and things. So yeah, I've gotten some artwork from him, some prints and things. But yeah, I just never really got around to watching this. I guess I was a little bit too grown up. I don't know. But at the same year that this came out, the X-Men movie came into theaters. So I was all about that. Don't ask what my license plate said at the time. It actually had X-Men and it had it was X-Men 2000. I think it said X-Men 2000 on it, and it had an SR-71 Blackbird in the image on the plate. So yeah, I was a bit of a unrelenting nerd. So I don't know how I missed this. It's not like I missed it. I just didn't take the opportunity to watch it. By the way, there's like 50 some episodes. The thing ran from 2000 to 2003, 4 seasons. Yeah, so it varies between like 13 episodes down to the shortest season was the last one, which was 9, up to like 17 episodes at some point. So it fluctuates in number of episodes, but it's actually it's beloved by a lot of fans who grew up. This is their first exposure to the X-Men. Mine was, I think X-Men 197. It's a long time ago, kids. Yeah. 196, 197. It was a Secret Wars 2 crossover. That's all I know. I have the original issue, and I have it signed by Chris Claremont and John Romita Jr. Okay, I'm totally off topic right now. Anyway, big X-Men fan, never watched this, but I really enjoyed it. I watched the first 3 episodes. I realized there's continuity into it, so I didn't hop around. Usually I do like 1 episode per season if it's one of the kids Disney Channel shows. But no, this has a lot of continuity, and it introduces a lot of characters. Like, not everybody's already in the X-Men, immediately, and then here's the team, and now they're going to fight the bad guys. No, it's the first one introduces Nightcrawler to the team. He's a young kid as compared to he's like maybe a freshman, or maybe an 8th grader. Maybe he's a freshman in high school compared to like Jean and Scott, who are like seniors. They're a bit more mature, and they all go to like a real high school. Like, they're not going to school at the Xavier Mansion, which is weird. But this offers a whole lot more opportunities for them to interact with the regular kids. Toad's there. They realize right off the bat that there's a number of mutants in this school. I guess not everybody notices, though. It starts off really differently. Like, it's in a way that you don't normally expect a cartoon to start off. It's usually kind of rudimentary how they introduce characters. In this way, though, even as an old school X-Men fan, I had no idea which way this was going to go. There's a football player. He gets tackled. Jean's taking photos of him. She's kind of flirting with him. Meanwhile, Toad's under the bleachers stealing people's wallets. Scott tries to go stop him, but for some reason the football players on the team also notice Toad stealing, and they're about to go beat him up, but Scott stops them and protects Toad. So it's a really weird little interaction. Normally it would be Cyclops versus Toad, the fight, but it's not that black and white. Toad actually kind of thanks Scott for helping him out, but he's still kind of sleazy, the way he acts around people. There's other kids, one guy named Lance who can shake things up. He's going to be Avalanche. The school counselor, I think. She's a counselor. I'm not sure. Maybe she's a principal. I'm not sure. Ms. Darkholm. You know who that is, X-Men fans. That's Mystique. And she's working for Magneto, who only shows up in shadow and makes paper clips float when he speaks in a dark, low voice. And you just see the shape of his helmet, and it was very stylized. It's got a bit of a, obviously, a Japanese, Asian, Korean animation studio feel to it. So it's got a lot of dropped frames, let's just say. When it comes to the animation, it's not as smooth as some of the more modern types of animation. But yeah, it's got a soundtrack that's so late 90s. It's got that, I don't know, rock done on a keyboard kind of thing. Also, yeah, it's kind of like indicative of its time. It's a product of its time, as I often say, but it really sets you in that era. And also the way they all dress too, it's so very late 90s. And again, this had to be animated in the 90s for it to premiere in 2000. It's not like it takes a few weeks to make a cartoon. But yeah, when it comes to the storyline, so far they introduced Nightcrawler, they introduced Kitty the second episode, and they introduced Rogue in the third. And the whole time it's a battle between them and Mystique, and who's going to recruit and who's going to take care of, protect them to one side or the other. And they're not successful. The X-Men are not successful 100% of the time. Let's just say that. If you haven't watched it, so if you've already seen this, you already know. There's also like a B story that runs throughout this thing where Wolverine and Sabretooth just fight each other for the heck of it. Like, Sabretooth jumps him, they start smashing into each other. Nobody ever stabs anybody. Logan just uses his claws to slice things up, like elevator doors and cars and stuff. I realize you're not going to get a lot of gory blood and Wolverine actually stabbing people. I don't think you're ever going to see blood. I'd be very surprised if you did. This isn't gargoyles. But everybody's got the great, just the attitudes of each of the characters is dead on. So yeah, it's very much X-Men, but it's a very different way. I know the fourth episode coming up involves Blob. Blob is another kid at the school who's kind of overweight, obviously. But he realizes that he's a mutant too. And I haven't seen this. I just read it from the synopsis. I had to stop at some point. But I think I'm going to continue with this. Jean treats him nicely, and he mistakes that for love. So that's probably not going to end well. I imagine you can tell which team he's going to end up on. And then there's another character named Spike, which is, he grows bones out of his skin, which is, oh God, what was her name? It's based on another character from the X-Men, Marrow. Marrow. He's very much like Marrow from the X-Men comics. So I haven't seen him yet, but he's in the credits, so he'll be a regular. It's really interesting. I think I'm gonna, you know what? Let me grab this. I'm gonna add this to my playlist. Someday I'll finish this thing off. Hooray for me. Yeah. If you love the X-Men, if you don't love the X-Men, you kind of like them, but it might be worthwhile checking out, especially if you like animated series. It doesn't talk down to you. It doesn't treat it like it's a kid's thing. Yeah, it's obviously not meant for adults. It's not super mature or anything. And it's definitely pointed more towards kids, but it's like older kids. You know, it's got some smart storytelling, at least the way they structure things. It's not perfect by any means, but it's fun. It's worth checking out. So let's check out what we have for tomorrow on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. Slowly, 637, another 600. I have a feeling we've already had this one. 637. Yep. Yeah, it's that whole chunk in there. 637. It was the Mistletones. Yeah, we're not going through that again. All right, we're going to check. It's weird. The last few days, we've been getting a lot of repeats in these numbers. So I'll have to whittle some things down soon. Let's generate 365. I have a feeling, again, 600, 300s. We get a lot of that same stuff. 365. No, we haven't had it. 365. It's a short. All right. It's a short 365. Real easy. Watch it along with me. Minnie's Bow Tunes. Minnie's Bow Tunes. Woohoo. So it's a long time since we've had a short. I think. I don't remember. We always seem to have a lot of movies. And we've recently had a few series peppered in and out. So, yeah, it's good to have a little short now. Excuse me, Minnie's Bow Tunes. I'll see you here tomorrow. It takes some time to watch it. You have no excuse. Excuse me. Ooh, Corona. Minnie's Bow Tunes here on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. We'll see you tomorrow.